All right, so the review for these speakers. One thing you have to remember with this Dayton is that it does need some break-in time. I'm not a huge believer in break-in time. I really kind of think it's like a lot of your ears adjusting to the sort of the tonal qualities of a given speaker, in a given acoustic space too, because when you move speakers to different rooms, they sound differently too. You know, I have experienced break-in. I think one of the most severe cases, and this particular speaker does have a severe case of it. I bought a pair of, I think they were Bowers & Wilkins B&W P3 headphones, the nicer ones with the leather. When they were first making headphones, I think it was the first headphone they made, and I bought a pair of those. I thought they were really cool looking, and I fired them up, and it sounded kind of flat and kind of just, there wasn't really anything interesting about it. It didn't really sound good, and I listened to them for about a week or two, and they really bloomed. And I thought I was nuts. I was kind of, I brought these headphones to my grandparents' house. I was like, wearing them over my neck, and my grandpa asked me to listen to them, and he's like, these, of all your kind of sound stuff, this kind of sounds not that interesting. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, I kind of agree. It says they should break in. And he listened to them 2 weeks later when I thought they sounded better, and he agreed that they sounded better. Weird phenomenon. I don't know if it exists or not. I really do think it does exist with some products, because I have been able to hear something that, it's hard to say that it was just me adjusting the sound quality of the speaker. But these, again, do need, they require 50 hours of break-in time is what they said. It required quite a while for these speakers to start sounding pretty good to me. I played with the placement a bit. They're pretty agreeable in terms of placement. They do like some toe in. But generally speaking, they're pretty easy to place. Nice wide dispersion and that kind of stuff. But these did require some time to start sounding good. So I'm going to go over some of the tracks that I really enjoyed on these speakers and sort of shine on these speakers for you. And again, if you have a pair of these, feel free to add. There's a collaborative Spotify playlist that I've linked. So you can add your favorite tracks if you have some favorite tracks on these speakers. And the point of doing that, I think, is a lot of these reviews are, oh, there were troubles, this, and, the mid-range is just so, present and, or too forward. And sometimes it gets a little confusing when you're trying to find a decent pair of speakers that you like. It kind of muddles together all these sort of terminology words. The same thing with car reviews. I'm a huge car person, and I find that quite a lot with car reviews. What I'm doing is, instead of playing you a song on these speakers from an iPhone microphone, or even a nicer microphone, so you can listen to it on your speakers, which I think is, really. I have some of my favorite tracks on these speakers, and you can listen to them on yours, and you can add some if you have any that you like. The tracks, just kind of poking around Spotify. I have Self-Care by Mac Miller. Cool atmospheric effects. The low bass notes are really great on these speakers. Again, a lot of my love of these speakers are in their lowest tones, because they are quite clean. They're not hugely punchy. So if you have like a larger medium-sized room to a large room, you're probably not gonna like these. But small rooms, big small rooms, medium rooms, small medium rooms, you're actually probably gonna really like these speakers. Let's see, Jammin' by Bob Marley and the Wailers. One thing about reggae on these speakers is you get those like big bass beats, do 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 do, and it really just comes out on these. It carries the rhythm of a lot of these reggae tracks, and it just makes reggae really fun, and you really want to turn up good reggae on these speakers. They are really fun for stuff that is full range. What else do we have here? Mix It Up by Bob Marley and the Wailers again. Also, excellent reggae excellentness. Roll Over Beethoven by Chuck Berry. Sometimes I really like these older recordings that really aren't perfect at all. That's a fun one on these speakers. A lot of cleanness to that recording. It is a very older recording, but you can hear him kind of moving his head on the microphone, and you can hear the distance change and that kind of stuff. So that's a fun recording. Tupac, I love Tupac on these speakers. I'm a huge Tupac fan. And a lot of Tupac's bass tones, you hear a lot of modern rap where you hear a lot of punchy mid-range type bass that carries a lot of the rhythm in these songs. On Tupac, he's one of those artists that has really nice, very low bass, and these are great for listening to Tupac on. By the way, I think I had a viewer down ask about hip-hop and rap on these. These are awesome rap speakers. They're awesome hip-hop speakers. They've got nice, clean, deep bass. And down to 40 hertz, you're getting into your sub territory. So it does, you know, especially if you're dealing with one of these turd box soundbar subs, this is gonna go just as low, for sure. What else we have on here? My favorite track that I just kind of skimmed through, or, you know, found, sort of skimming through Spotify that I listened to, was Deadbeat Summer by Neon Indian. That is a cool track anyway. And I think, you know, one of the cool things about the track is the bass sort of kind of like ruminates, and you get these like really deep sort of bass tones that kind of fill the air in the room like a heat wave in a summer. It's like this cool, you know, you listen to it on the wave radio and you can hear these effects, and you listen to it on the Dayton and you're like, wow. You know, you can hear just more of it. You know, the wave radio sounds good and you get the idea with the wave radio, and then you plug these into the Daytons and you're like, this is a really cool track. And it's one of those things where you can convey a feeling with an audio tone. So that was probably my favorite track, was Deadbeat Summer on these speakers. Really fun track. Let's see, Amy Whitehouse, Cupid. You hear a lot of some of that sort of reggae, familiar sounding reggae bass again on those tracks. I love that BBC recording of her, that album that you had Valerie on. Oh, I love all of those recordings. Very good on these speakers, very fun. Her voice is very neutral, very laid back. Again, it's not as intimate or as, you know, really hi-fi sounding as, you know, something like the Q150, the KEF, but it is still quite good. And the bass, the deepest bass obviously is better because the KEFs just don't go that low. And Erykah Badu, I love Erykah Badu on these. I think she's another artist that, you know, her bass rhythm is, you know, is in a deeper bass range. And, you know, it really comes out on a lot of her tracks when you can hear their, you know, really nice baritone voice and those deep tones undertoning everything else, you know, in the song. And it just comes through so clearly on these that I just, you know, Erykah Badu sounds very nice on my KEFs, and her voice sounds better on my KEFs. But you don't really get that full picture of Erykah Badu's sound with the KEFs because it simply doesn't go as low as you want it to. And with these, I absolutely love Erykah Badu on these speakers because of that. So those are some fun tracks. There are way more on, I think I put maybe 15 or 20 tracks. Like I said, I was just kind of skimming through Spotify, listening to some stuff, see what sounded good. And those are the tracks that shined on these speakers. Again, if you have these speakers and you'd like to add some of your favorite tracks, please feel free. The link is below. Please feel free to subscribe and comment on my videos. Obviously, pretty much no one is watching me on the internet, so I'll probably respond to your question. So if you have any questions about these speakers or anything else, next review, I think I'm going to be reviewing some old speakers for once. Like I said, this channel is going to have some speakers that are basically cheap, whether they're new or used. And I've got, I traded my mom my Dayton MK442s because she wanted a sound bar. And I told her she might like those, and she did. So she's got my little Daytons now, and I traded her those for the Infinity IL40s, I believe. Three-way large Infinities from the early 2000s. Those are going to be fun, so that's probably going to be my next review. So stick around and stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. It helps out a lot. We'll see you later.